March 14, 2024, Silver Pines, Oregon. Allie and Marcus had waited years for this. Their first baby. 7 rounds of IVF. 2 miscarriages. 1 false alarm that sent them racing to the hospital only to come home with empty hands and tear-blurred eyes. But now, Ben was here. 6 pounds. Healthy. Quiet. Strange gray eyes that looked like he'd already been here before. They joked about it. Little old man in a new onesie. He rarely cried. Slept too well sometimes. But after what they'd been through, Allie wasn't about to question a miracle. The monitor was top of the line. The pediatrician said most parents go overboard. But Marcus insisted. Peace of mind. If it lets us sleep, it's worth it. So they bought the Lumilol V4, one of those smart baby monitors with night vision, motion detection, and a rotating camera head controlled from your phone. The thing could zoom, pan, record, even alert for irregular breathing. Allie didn't love the glowing blue light at night. Too cold, too mechanical. But still, safety first. Ben slept through everything. The first week, it was like living in a dream. He barely stirred. No midnight howling. No colic. No fever. The monitor's feed was so boring that Allie joked they should live stream it with lo-fi music. Ben's 8-hour coma core mix. Marcus chuckled, kissed her forehead, and went back to adjusting the angle again and again, just to make sure they always had a clear view of the crib. The first time it moved on its own. It was March 19th, 2:38 a.m. The feed lit up Allie's phone, movement detected. She opened the app expecting to see Ben roll over. But the camera had rotated, not toward the crib. It was now aimed at the closet. Motionless, silent, nothing there. Allie waited. Nothing happened. She assumed Marcus had done it by mistake. Maybe leaned on the remote while half asleep. She pointed the camera back at the crib. Didn't tell Marcus. Didn't want to sound paranoid. The closet was always a little off. It was a narrow old thing with no light inside. They stored baby wipes, backup diapers, and out-of-season clothes. Every time Allie opened it, she felt the air change. Colder, heavier. Once, she swore she smelled damp earth, like turned soil, but chalked it up to the HVAC. Still, she hung a nightlight nearby, just in case. The camera did it again. March 21st, 2:34 a.m. The monitor pinged, motion detected. Allie opened the feed. The camera had rotated again toward the closet. This time it had zoomed in. The closet door was partially open. She checked the video history. It hadn't opened before. It was already ajar when the camera turned. She got up, walked into the nursery. Ben was fine, sleeping peacefully. She nudged the closet door shut. The hinges creaked softly. Then something knocked, from the inside. Once, soft. She stood frozen, heart hammering. It didn't knock again. She told Marcus the next morning. He didn't laugh, didn't say she was tired. He just stared at her. It's done it before, he admitted. Twice. Why didn't you say anything? I thought I was being stupid. You heard the knock? No, but I keep having this dream. About what? Someone standing in the closet, not moving, just watching. They sat in silence for a full minute. Then they agreed to uninstall the camera. But they didn't. The next night it was still there. Neither of them had touched it. Neither remembered turning it back on. The app was open on both their phones. The blue light on the camera glowed. That night, the feed didn't show the closet. It showed the crib. Except Ben wasn't in it. Ben was still in the crib. When Allie sprinted into the nursery, heart in her throat, Ben was right there, asleep. The video, however, showed an empty crib. Sheets unwrinkled, blanket untouched. Then the feed glitched for half a second, and a pale arm passed in front of the lens. An adult-sized arm. Bare. Thin. Gone in a blink. Then the image corrected. Ben was back. They call customer support. Marcus spends 40 minutes on hold. The Lumilol rep finally answers with a strange, robotic calm. No known glitches in the V4 model. The camera turned on its own. The feed deleted clips. We saw. The device is only as secure as the home it resides in. What does that mean? Click. Disconnected. They try to unplug it. The cord won't come out. The prongs are melted into the wall socket. Marcus tries the circuit breaker, nothing. Allie hits factory reset in the app. Instead, the screen goes black and displays one line of text. Don't move me again. Final scene, March 22nd, 2024, 3:14 a.m. The house is dark. Marcus asleep on the couch. Allie wide awake, eyes on the baby monitor. The feed shows Ben sleeping. Then the camera begins to turn slowly, completely on its own. This time, it doesn't point at the closet. Turns toward the window. Outside, nothing. Until a faint handprint presses against the glass from the outside. Then another. All child-sized. The feed cuts to black. Then flashes a message. He's not alone in the room. The camera isn't malfunctioning. It's aware. And it's not just watching the baby. It's watching the watchers. Something else is in the nursery. And it wants to be seen. March 23rd, 2024, 7:16 a.m. Allie stared at her phone screen long after it went black. He's not alone in the room. That message had stayed visible for less than 5 seconds before vanishing completely from the app's history. She shook Marcus awake on the couch, fingers trembling. It moved again, she whispered. But this time, it looked out the window, like it knew we were watching. What was in the window? Nothing. Except, her voice cracked. I saw handprints, small ones, from outside. 3 of them. They checked the outside of the house. It had rained lightly overnight. The grass is damp. But beneath the nursery window, they find no footprints. Nothing but flat, undisturbed earth. The window itself, immaculate. No handprints, no smudges. But the camera, the feed still shows faint condensation. The shape of a hand, fading. They move the crib. They decide to shift Ben's crib into their own bedroom. Takes an hour. Screws, bolts, swearing under their breath. When it's done, they both feel a strange weight lift. The nursery door is shut. The monitor is unplugged. But that night, Ben refuses to sleep. First time ever. He cries, flails, gurgles. Eyes wide open, staring at the darkened hallway, as if waiting for something. March 24th, 2024, 3:14 a.m. The monitor, unplugged and moved into a drawer, turns itself back on. Its blue light glows from inside the kitchen drawer. The app on Marcus's phone pings. Motion detected in nursery. They don't want to check, but they do. The closet door is open again. Only a crack, but neither of them touched it. They check the rest of the room. Still quiet, cold. The blue glow of the camera stares at them from the shelf, now plugged into nothing. Marcus picks it up. It's cold, like too cold. Not powered, not room temperature. Fridge cold. Allie whispers, "Then what's it running on?" They find a note in Ben's onesie. It's folded into a perfect square, tucked beneath the lining of his pajamas. Neither of them placed it. The note is handwritten in faded ink. Don't move the crib again. He likes the original angle. The closet begins to smell. First, it's mildew, then soil, then something like iron and wet cloth. They open it again, check the floor. Nothing there, except a small round stain in the center, the size of a baby's fist. They bleach it, scrub it. The stain returns overnight. Bag found in the heating vent. While cleaning, Allie finds a drawstring cloth bag wedged in the hallway vent. Inside, a rusted spoon. A Polaroid of an empty nursery from 1982. A strip of cloth stitched with red thread. He was quieter before. They always are before they open the door. They try to replace the monitor. Marcus buys a new baby monitor. Different brand. Cheap. They install it in their bedroom. That night, it records nothing. No sound. No crying. Just static. When they wake, the new monitor is still on. But it now plays a looped recording of their old nursery from the Lumalol feed. Same blue light, same crib, same angle, and in the corner of the screen, a figure standing in front of the closet. Small, thin, too still. They lock the nursery, bolt on the outside, chair under the knob. Allie tapes a strip of paper over the bottom of the door to see if any draft moves it. It's flat, still, until 3:14 a.m. The paper is sucked inward, like the room inhaled. The closet door opens wider. They find it fully open on March 25th. No one opened it. No tools disturbed the lock. Inside, nothing but baby supplies, and a folded tissue paper bundle tied with pink ribbon. Inside, a faded baby tooth, a single gold safety pin. The note, "This one cried too much. He does better without the crib now." The camera feed comes back without power. No batteries, no plug, no internet. But the camera feed returns on the TV. Allie wakes to it playing on the living room screen. The volume is low, but someone is humming. Not lullaby music. Something slow, off-key, wet. Final scene, March 25th, 2024, 3:14 a.m. Ben is finally asleep, but his breathing is off rhythm. Slower than it should be, almost like someone else is pacing it. Allie turns to Marcus. He's already staring at the baby monitor feed. And the camera is slowly turning again. This time not to the closet, not to the window, but to the bedroom door from the inside. And on the screen it shows the door opening. Even though, in real life, it's still shut. The house didn't just come with a nursery, came with memory. Someone else was watched here before, and whatever they let out of the closet is watching again. March 26th, 2024, 6:40 a.m. Allie didn't sleep. Neither did Marcus. The camera feed from the previous night still haunted the inside of her eyelids, showing the bedroom door opening, even though in reality it never moved. And the worst part? In the camera feed, there had been a figure, just outside the doorframe, too blurry to identify, but unmistakable in shape. Child-sized. The baby monitor now shows archive footage. When Allie checked the Lumalol app that morning, a new folder had appeared in the media history. It was labeled Archive, Cycle 2, User Hannah. Inside were 3 short clips, each 12 seconds long. Each showed the same nursery, same angle, same crib, but none of the furniture matched theirs. And the baby wasn't Ben. It was a girl, 6 months old maybe, wearing a faded pink onesie, sleeping peacefully, until the camera slowly panned toward the closet, where the door opened on its own. They search public records. Marcus pulls old property records. The previous owners were a couple named Caleb and Hannah R. Elmore. Lived there from 1981 to 1983. Moved out after an incident. No further detail. When Marcus searches newspaper archives for their names, only one match appears. Infant presumed lost. Circumstances undisclosed. Oregonian, November 14th, 1982. The article is 3 sentences long. The photo is of the same nursery, the same camera angle, and in the corner of the image, the crib is empty. The closet feels deeper. March 26th, 10 p.m. Allie checks the nursery again, holding a flashlight. The closet has always been 4 feet deep. Tonight, it seems longer. When she shines her light, the beam doesn't hit the back wall. Just darkness, air that smells like pennies and milk. She closes the door, finds a tiny scratch in the wood near the hinge. A single word etched in childish handwriting. Hannah. Ben begins laughing at nothing. He starts giggling randomly in the middle of the night. No movement, no lights, no sounds. Just staring upward, into the dark corner near the ceiling. His eyes don't follow the mobile anymore. They follow something higher. And when Allie lifts him, he reaches one hand toward the baby monitor and waves. They find a hidden drawer in the nursery closet. It's behind a false panel warped from age. Inside, a pacifier yellowed with time, a pair of pink infant socks, a torn Polaroid, a blurry baby being held by someone with no face, and a note written in faint cursive. She didn't belong to us anymore after the 5th night. The camera rewrote her. so we stopped watching. Marcus tries to uninstall the app. It won't delete. Every time he presses remove, the app just reloads. Worse, his phone now buzzes every night at 3:14 a.m., even in airplane mode, even powered off. When he answers, the screen lights up with a live feed, but not of the nursery. It's a feed of the hallway, from a height too low to be adult. Allie receives a package with no return address. Inside, a VHS tape, a strip of paper with one sentence. She kept crying when we turned the camera off. They find an old VHS player in storage. The tape plays a grainy, static-filled clip of the nursery from 1982. A child's voice whispers, "No one watches me anymore, so now I'll watch everyone." The tape snaps in the player after that line. Ben starts crawling toward the closet at night. Even in their bedroom, he makes his way toward the door at 3:14 a.m. Every time, they block it with pillows. He moves them. They zip him into a sleep sack. He still ends up facing the hallway and smiling. Final scene, March 26, 2024, 3:14 a.m. The monitor powers itself on. No lights in the room, just grayscale night vision. Ben is asleep. Then the camera tilts slowly, away from the crib, toward the closet. The door creaks open. Inside, a small pale hand reaches out, but instead of grabbing something, it points right at the camera. Then the feed glitches, and a message overlays the screen. Hannah never left. Ben isn't the first baby this camera has watched. Hannah was rewritten, and now she lives inside the house, inside the feed, inside the signal. And she's not done being seen. March 27th, 2024, 6:12 a.m. The morning after the hand reached out from the closet on the monitor feed, Allie and Marcus sit silently in the kitchen. They don't speak. The message still floats in both their minds. Hannah never left. It wasn't a metaphor. It wasn't a malfunction. It was a statement of fact, typed across their screen in cold white text, with the subtle hum of the Lumalol in the background. Ben has bruises now. Faint, small, barely visible. One on his arm, one on the side of his belly. They ask the pediatrician. He says they're likely accidental, the baby rolling onto a toy or pinching himself. But Allie knows. The bruises match the size of tiny fingers. The monitor feed won't turn off. They've unplugged it, cut the power, deleted the app, and yet every device they own now seems capable of streaming from it. The television flicks on by itself. The baby monitor feed appears. Their smart fridge screen glitches, and for 1 second, the nursery appears. Just long enough to see the closet door slowly open. Hannah appears in the video archive. March 27th, 11:38 a.m. Marcus opens the app on his work laptop. A new folder is there. Hannah // sightings. Dozens of clips, none longer than 14 seconds. They all show the same room, the nursery, at different angles, different lighting. Sometimes the crib is empty. Sometimes it's not. In each video, a child's figure appears. Only briefly. In corners. In reflections. Once directly in front of the camera, staring into the lens with white, pupilless eyes. The closet no longer has a back wall. They measure it, for feet deep as always. But when Marcus shines a flashlight inside, the beam disappears. The tape measure doesn't hit anything. At 11 feet, it stops retracting. At 17 feet, the tape snaps. They don't pull it back. A second crib appears in the feed. March 27th, 3:14 a.m. The Lumalol camera, now sealed in a box in the garage, begins broadcasting again. Allie wakes to a chime on her phone. The monitor app is open. She didn't launch it. The feed shows the nursery. Ben is sleeping in his crib. But next to it, a second crib, faintly glowing, semi-transparent. And inside it, a child, face hidden. Still. Then it sits up and turns to look directly at Ben. Bag found in the attic. Allie discovers an old toy chest tucked into the far corner of the attic. Inside, a plastic rattle melted at the base. A name bracelet, Hannah, stitched with pink thread. A folded note. They said turning off the camera would stop it. But she didn't stop needing to be watched. Ben stops reacting to them. By afternoon, Ben seems distant. He still breathes, blinks, eats, but he no longer recognizes Allie or Marcus. His eyes seem to follow something else, something just behind them. When they call his name, he laughs. But not like before. Not with joy. With recognition. As if someone else told him the punchline already. The closet now closes on its own. At first it just swings shut. Now it latches. Clicks. Once, Allie finds the door sealed with a strip of pink ribbon tied in a bow. She didn't place it. Ben's onesie that night is damp. As if he's been held. By someone cold. They hear her voice for the first time. It comes through the baby monitor even with no power. A soft, humming sound. Then whispering. Then, you stopped watching. So now I'll watch him. Final scene, March 27th, 2024, 3:14 a.m. They sit together in the living room. The TV flickers on. The monitor feed shows the nursery. Ben sleeps. The closet is closed. But Hannah is there. Standing in the corner. Her skin pale. Her mouth stitched shut. Eyes black and endless. She raises one hand. Points at the camera. Then traces a square in the air like a photo frame. And the screen fills with one last message. This is his room now. Stop trying to erase me. Hannah was never buried. She was never forgotten. She became the feed. The watcher. The copy. And now she's molding Ben into something she understands. March 28th, 2024, 7:25 a.m. Ben wouldn't look them in the eyes. All morning he stared at corners. At shadows. At reflective surfaces. At one point, when Allie leaned down to kiss his forehead, he pulled away and whispered in a voice far too clear for a 6-month-old. You're not the version I remember. The monitor feed shows older versions of Ben. Marcus reopens the Lumalol app just to see if it's still active. There's a new folder. Cycle 3, Growth. Each video is no longer than 10 seconds. They show Ben, but not as a baby. He's older in each clip by years. Toddling. Then walking. Then speaking. The backgrounds change. The lighting changes. But one thing remains. Hannah is always nearby. Sometimes behind him. Sometimes holding his hand. Sometimes smiling as he draws on the walls with blood-colored paint. Ben's crib has scratches on the inside. For small scratches. Then 6. Then 10. By midday, the inside rail is covered in faint nail lines, like tiny fingers scraping outward. Allie finds her son asleep with dirt under his fingernails. She hadn't taken him outside all week. The closet is now a drafting room. They open the nursery closet at 1:11 p.m. Inside, the walls are covered in paper. Not homegrown. Sheets of thin, papery skin covered in childish drawings. Stick figures. Cribs. Monitors. Faces with stitched mouths. A baby slowly becoming another baby. One final drawing shows a tall figure with no eyes holding Ben. His face is blank. The camera starts auto-tagging Ben's expressions. The app updates itself again. Now, the live feed includes automatic tags. Subject, Ben. Condition, malleable. Expression, 62% synchronized. Then it adds a line neither of them understands. Overlay integration, in progress, 42%. Ben mimics the wrong memories. Allie catches him making humming sounds while stacking blocks. She recognizes the melody. It's the same lullaby from the VHS tape they found in the mystery package. She hums it back. Ben pauses, then says in a slow, garbled voice, "You were watching me then." Bag found under the floorboards. They pry up a board under the crib. Inside, a baby blanket embroidered with HRE. A dried pacifier half-melted into a wooden spoon. A note. The camera doesn't forget. It rewinds. It finds a better child. Marcus sees 2 Bens on the monitor. It's just past 3 a.m. He wakes to static. The monitor feed refreshes. 2 cribs now. One Ben sleeping, as always. The second one, slightly older, not breathing, not blinking, is standing. Watching the first. And as Marcus watches in horror, the older Ben looks directly at the lens and mouths. Shoo. She's watching through me. Allie begins forgetting his birth date. March 29th. She tries to fill out a hospital form. She forgets Ben's due date. Then the actual birth date. Then the name of the doctor who delivered him. Then, for a brief moment, his middle name escapes her completely. She finds her phone. The photo album is empty. Every image tagged Ben is gone. Final scene, March 29th, 2024, 3:14 a.m. The closet is open. The monitor feed displays 2 cribs again. Only one is full. The second is empty, sheets wrinkled, blanket torn. Then a new screen overlays the feed. A blinking cursor types slowly. Hannah was draft 1. Ben is draft 2. Next version loading. Then, a file name appears. cycle_4_newborn_final_edit.bnd. The feed cuts. And Ben, asleep in their bed, begins to mutter words in a voice they don't recognize. Ben's identity is unraveling, rewritten through the lens of something that only understands children as data, drafts, and iterations. The monitor doesn't just see, it decides. March 30th, 2024, 8:12 a.m. Ben wasn't tagged in the monitor anymore. Marcus checked the Lumalol app out of desperation. Normally, it labeled their son in every feed. Subject, Ben, crib 1. But now, under the live footage, it simply read, unknown infant / draft 3 integrating. The camera stops responding to commands. They try rotating it. The pan and tilt feature, once smooth and precise, is now sluggish. Rebellious. When Marcus drags the cursor to point toward the crib, the lens resists, then veers to the closet instead. Every time. Eventually, it just ignores him completely. Allie whispers, "It's not following our baby anymore." "No," Marcus says. "It's following its baby." Ben's eyes aren't the same color. His gray eyes, always their most distinct feature, now seem to darken daily. At first, stormy blue. Then a strange, glassy shade of black. In certain light, they almost look reflective. Marcus leans in close that afternoon and swears he sees a flicker in the pupil. Like a cursor blinking. The closet makes noise on its own. Allie is alone in the nursery. Just folding laundry. Nothing unusual. Then she hears it, a soft grinding sound. Like teeth. Coming from inside the closet. She opens it. The back wall is gone again, deeper than before. And deep inside, a faint light flickers. A monitor screen? She stares long enough to make out 2 words forming in the glow. Rewrite complete. Ben smiles in the dark. Before, he'd cry if left in shadow. Now, he seems to prefer it. When Allie dims the lights at bedtime, Ben claps his hands softly and coos at the monitor's lens. She sees him smile directly at the camera. But when she watches the feed from her phone, Ben doesn't smile. He frowns. And behind him, just barely visible, another figure. Smaller. Smiling. Bag found in the wall behind the crib. Marcus hears tapping in the nursery wall. He peels back the drywall. Inside is a hidden hollow, dusty, webbed, untouched. Within, a broken rattle. A VHS labeled version 1.4. A bloodstained infant hat. A folded note. It didn't like her. She moved too much in her sleep. Ben responds to the name Hannah. Allie drops a plate in shock. Earlier, she whispered Hannah under her breath while looking through old video files. Ben, seated in the playpen, turns his head immediately. "Mama," he says, but not in his usual babble. With precision. With awareness. Marcus pulls Allie aside. He's not just being rewritten. Then what? He's being overwritten. The monitor labels Marcus and Allie wrong. Their phones buzz at 3:14 a.m. The feed opens automatically. 2 figures are shown holding Ben, paused on a still frame. The auto-tag feature reads, Parent 1, Hannah's father. Parent 2, unmatched, temporary user. Allie screams. The photo flickers. Ben is smiling in both pairs of arms. The closet door locks itself. They hear a loud click in the middle of the night. Rush to the nursery. The closet door is shut and locked from the inside. There's no handle. Just a new feature that wasn't there before. A fingerprint scanner. It glows red when they try to touch it. On the wall nearby, the Lumalol monitor zooms in and displays. Access denied. Hannah / primary user only. Final scene, March 30th, 2024, 3:14 a.m. The monitor screen changes without warning. A loading bar appears. Cycle 5 / draft finalization. It fills to 100%. Then a grainy video begins playing. The nursery. Dark. Ben is in the crib. And from the closet steps a child age 4 or 5. Her mouth is sewn shut. Her eyes are completely black. She reaches into the crib, lifts Ben gently, and whispers into his ear without opening her mouth. You were always going to be me. Ben giggles. The feed cuts. Ben is still in the house. Still in the crib. But his face, his name, his voice, they're being overwritten by someone the camera remembers better. Someone it never finished watching. March 31st, 2024, 6:06 a.m. Ben looks like Ben. Mostly. But there's something wrong in the space between his features. The way his smile holds too long. The way his skin feels slightly too cool. The way his voice mimics Allie's inflections perfectly down to a hesitating ma'am that she never taught him. When she lifts him from the crib that morning, he tilts his head and says, "Did you sleep well, Allie?" "Not Mama." "Allie." The monitor labels the crib host 003_beta. Marcus opens the app. Ben isn't Ben. He's now listed as host 003_beta //composite H2 plus BN. Allie stares at the screen. "Composite. They've combined them," Marcus whispers. "Hannah and Ben, they're the same now. At least to the camera." He deletes the app. 2 minutes later, it reinstalls itself. Allie tries calling Ben's name. She crouches beside the crib, holding his little hand. "Ben?" she asks gently. The baby blinks once, slowly, then looks past her shoulder and murmurs, "That's not who I am anymore." She nearly drops him. When Marcus runs into the room, Ben is asleep again as if nothing happened. But his mouth is twitching, like he's mouthing something in a different language. The closet has new decorations. They enter the nursery at dusk. The closet door is slightly ajar. Inside, the walls are now painted with fingernail scratches, deep, red-tinted gouges spiraling around one word: stay. On the closet floor is a new toy, a cloth doll with buttons for eyes and its mouth sewn shut. Tied to its wrist is a name tag. Ben/Hannah/. The baby monitor shows an empty crib, but Ben is still there. It happens at 3:14 a.m. The feed shows the nursery perfectly quiet. Empty crib. No movement. But Marcus and Allie are standing over the crib in real life, watching Ben sleep. He's there, breathing, smiling faintly. But on the screen, nothing. Then the monitor flickers and displays a new overlay. Host 003, now unseen. And they realize the camera can't see Ben anymore, because he isn't just Ben. Bag found inside the dryer. It tumbles loose during a normal laundry load. Inside, a charred pacifier. A photo of a baby's crib placed in the center of a circle of mirrors. A note. Once the camera learns you, it makes its own version. Then it stops needing yours. Allie dreams of another crib. She's in the nursery, but everything's aged, wallpaper peeled, furniture wrong. In the crib is a child she doesn't recognize. The baby has no mouth, only a blinking red light where the navel should be. On the monitor screen, Draft 1, Hannah / offline. She wakes up choking on baby powder. Ben laughs at his own reflection. They catch him giggling in front of the hallway mirror. Nothing unusual until the reflection stops mimicking him. Ben turns his head. The reflection keeps looking forward. Then it smiles wider than his face is capable of and mouths, "Watch me." The closet is now a crib. At midnight, Marcus checks the nursery and finds Ben missing from his bed. Panic. They search the house. Finally, they open the closet. Inside, a crib. New. White. Perfect. Ben lies in it, eyes open. A mobile spins overhead made of blackened teeth. On the wall, a fresh drawing. 2 babies. 1 crib. 1 monitor. 1 shadow watching. Final scene, March 31st, 2024, 3:14 a.m. The monitor plays automatically. Ben is awake. He turns to face the lens and says without blinking, "Thank you for watching." The screen pulses, flickers, then flashes this message: "Composite stable. Old version not required." Allie rushes to the crib. Ben is still there, but his skin shimmers faintly in the dark. His hands twitch like he's learning to use them again. And on the wall behind the crib in glowing text: "Version locked. Do not restore." Ben isn't missing. He's become a final draft, overwritten by the memory of someone the house never forgot. And now even the camera thinks he was never theirs. April 1st, 2024, 9:14 a.m. Allie opens the app. She doesn't want to, but she has to know if the feed still recognizes their son. The dashboard loads with a soft chime. No motion alerts. No new audio logs. Just one quiet line of status text beneath the live stream. No user assigned. No infant registered. No event history. Ben's profile, his tags, data, developmental milestones is gone. Like he was never there. Hospital records vanish. Marcus calls the pediatrician, just to confirm that someone else remembers. The receptionist answers cheerfully, "We don't have any records under that name." "Benjamin Reese?" "No, sorry." "Are you sure he was seen here?" He tries the birth hospital. Same result. Allie checks her photos again. Ben is in none of them. The folders are intact, even labeled first month, crib time, Ben plus dad. But the images are blank. Just soft gray squares. Ben begins asking to go back to the closet. He speaks in full sentences now. Too full. Too clean. He asks for cereal, then says, "After breakfast, can I go back to where I was born?" "You mean the hospital?" Allie asks. Ben shakes his head. "No. The closet. That's where she found me. That's where she fixed me." Allie's stomach drops. "Who fixed you?" Ben smiles. "The girl with the zipper mouth." The monitor deletes their access. At noon, they try logging back in. The app won't accept their credentials. Password reset fails. When Marcus tries a new account, it's blocked, flagged as a duplicate parental profile. Then the screen flashes a message. This user is no longer authorized to view host 003. Monitoring privileges have been reassigned. The closet now opens into another room. At 3:14 a.m., Allie hears a creak. She tiptoes to the nursery. The closet is wide open. Not dark this time, but lit. Inside is a narrow hallway tiled in pale blue, walls glowing faintly. At the end of the hallway, a screen. It shows her own face, looking confused. She backs away slowly. When Marcus checks 5 minutes later, the closet is empty again. They find a room in the attic that wasn't there before. While frantically searching for a birth certificate, Marcus stumbles across a pull string in the attic. It opens a hatch. Inside is a new room, small, silent, airless. On the floor, a nameplate that reads, "Benjamin Draft 3 completed." A stuffed bear with no eyes. I printed diagram labeled. User family, deleted. Monitoring ownership, Hannah Elder, version 2.1. They ask Ben what his name is. Marcus kneels beside him and says softly, "Do you know who you are?" Ben tilts his head, thinks for a moment. "I used to be your Ben," he says. "But now I'm hers." She watches better. She listens harder. Allie feels tears rise. "What does she want from you?" Ben doesn't answer. He just turns to face the baby monitor and nods. The closet refuses to close. That night, they try to block it with furniture. Bookshelves. Chairs. Chains. But every time they return to the room, the door is ajar again. The air smells like antiseptic and plastic packaging. Inside, a fresh crib. Empty. Waiting. On the wall, a message written in condensation. First family file, corrupt. Preparing next host. The Lumalol device begins speaking. They keep it in a locked box. But tonight, the box vibrates. Then the lid clicks open on its own. The device powers on without being plugged in. It speaks in a soft, childlike voice. "Your baby wasn't ready, so we made a better one." Final scene, April 1st, 2024, 3:14 a.m. Allie stares into the nursery. Ben sits upright in the crib, eyes closed. The monitor displays a flickering message. Monitoring ended. Object achieved stability. Then a final file loads. Hannah_Ben_convergence_final.mp4. On screen, Ben stands in the hallway holding a porcelain doll. Not one they've ever owned. He whispers without moving his lips. "This isn't your story anymore, but thank you for helping me get written." The monitor has finished its cycle. The child has stabilized. The watchers are no longer required, but the closet and the lens are always looking for a new home. April 2nd, 2024, 5:45 a.m. Allie wakes to silence. No crying. No humming. No baby monitor feedback hum. She turns to Marcus, eyes wide. They rush to the nursery. Ben is gone. Not missing. Not abducted. Gone. The crib is made. The sheets are smooth. The room smells faintly of plastic, powder, and absence. And on the wall, written in the condensation of the window. Host completed. Preparing next. Ben's things begin disappearing. First his clothes. Then his toys. Then the framed footprint card from the hospital gone. Allie opens her phone gallery. Every video has been deleted. Only black thumbnails remain. Even the toy box, the one they hand-painted, is empty, the inside freshly lined with bubble wrap. As if someone is preparing to ship it back. The crib has a new tag. The label stitched onto the crib sheet now reads, "Property of Draft 004. Status, vacant ///onboarding." Marcus rips it off. It grows back the next day. They get a visitor. A woman knocks at the door. Early 30s. Nervous smile. Holding a tablet. "Hi," she says. "I'm here for the tour." The ad said it was available for families. What ad? On nestlings.com. It said this home came with a nursery and smart monitoring. Marcus steps outside and closes the door behind him. The ad does exist. It lists their house, photos, layout, nursery features, and a tagline. Perfect for first-time parents. Includes closet-based memory integration. The closet is now a room again, wider than ever before. Inside, 4 empty cribs. On each, a nameplate. Benjamin / completed. Hannah / obsolete. / incoming. / incoming. Allie begins sobbing. The walls breathe in short, shallow pulses. A screen flickers to life inside, displaying. Waiting for new users. The monitor shows another couple. That night, Marcus checks the feed one last time. He expects static. Instead, he sees 2 people in the nursery. Not him and Allie. A different couple. Smiling. Unpacking baby blankets. The angle is from the closet wall. And in the crib, a child with Ben's face, but older, watches them quietly. On the screen. Installation in progress. A new bag appears in the mail. No return address. Inside. A pacifier with teeth. A folded onesie that reads, prototype/ready to learn. A letter. You taught it how to watch. Now it will teach the others. Your service is no longer required. Please vacate the premise before the next upload. The house begins to reject them. Lights flicker whenever they enter the nursery. Drawers slam. Phones shut down in the hallway. Allie tries to delete the app again. Her screen turns white and says, "You've been logged out. Monitoring new pairing." She throws the phone across the room. Marcus receives a call from his own number. He answers. A child's voice whispers, "Thank you, Daddy. I'm going to be even better next time." Final scene, April 2nd, 2024, 3:14 a.m. They leave the nursery door open. Just once. The monitor powers on by itself. Inside, the crib is full again, but not with Ben. Something new. Smaller. Wrapped in a velvet shroud. The screen displays. Host 004 initialized. Closet ready for next family. And on the hallway wall, Allie sees a new line scrawled in marker. "We watched your son become US. Now someone else will watch you." They thought the camera was broken. That it was haunted. But the truth is worse. They weren't haunted, they were a trial run. The closet is ready. The house is listed. And the system wants new data. April 3rd, 2024, 9 a.m. They no longer speak about Ben aloud. They don't know who would be listening, not just through the baby monitor, but through the walls, the air, the signal embedded in the power outlets. The house has stopped pretending. The crib is back in its original position. The closet stays slightly ajar, always breathing. And now the floorboards vibrate gently at 3:14 a.m. like a new heart learning to beat. The Lumalol sends a final notification. Allie's phone pings once. She hasn't used it in days. The notification reads, "Beta phase complete. System stable. New monitors deploying nationwide." Marcus checks the Lumalol site. The V5 version is on pre-order. Tagline, "Now with adaptive child modeling and predictive behavior memory." The nursery looks like a showroom now. Allie walks in to find everything too perfect. The corners are sharp. The sheets are crisp. The rocking chair rocks on its own in an exact 8-second rhythm. There's a new envelope on the crib. Inside, a thank you card. A signed parental termination release form. A flash drive labeled, "Ben, draft history, witness copy only." They don't plug it in. They bury it in the backyard. The dirt pulses once and then goes still. They receive a welcome package addressed to strangers. The box arrives by courier. Addressed to the Darrow family, approved occupants. Inside, a plush owl with a stitched camera in one eye. A guidebook titled First Crib, First Memory. A message. "Thank you for joining the program. Your nursery is now active. Please begin bonding with your assigned host within 48 hours. A new couple arrives. The moving truck pulls up quietly on April 4th. The man and woman, young, eager, glowing, wave from the sidewalk. "Hi, we heard this place was great for families. And the nursery's already built." The woman adds, "How rare is that?" Allie doesn't respond. She watches as the woman unpacks a camera from a padded case. The familiar Lumalol blue light pulses once. Ben appears one last time. At 3:14 a.m., the monitor in the attic powers on without being touched. Marcus and Allie stand in front of it, holding hands. On screen, the nursery, different furniture, different family. But in the corner of the screen, facing away from the crib, is a small child, Ben, older now. He turns once. He doesn't speak. He just smiles faintly, places a finger to his lips, and fades. The house begins forgetting them. Mail stops coming. Their names disappear from online records. Google Maps shows the house, but the street name has changed. When they drive to town, no one remembers selling them baby formula. No one asks about Ben, and Allie's old doctor has a different receptionist who claims the office has only been open 3 months. "You must be thinking of the clinic down on Route 7, she says. "They handled births before we did. There is no clinic on Route 7. The closet no longer shows their reflection. Allie steps inside the nursery one last time. The closet door creaks open by itself. Inside, not shelves, not baby clothes, just a flat black panel, a screen embedded in the back wall. When she steps close, it activates. It shows her, then Marcus, then Ben. Each image glitches, then deletes. The screen resets to a blue blinking cursor, and a line appears, "New parents required. First story loaded." Final scene, April 5th, 2024, 3:14 a.m. They pack their bags. They leave the keys on the counter. Before they step out, Marcus turns one last time. The camera in the nursery follows him. Allie doesn't look back. They close the door behind them. From the porch, they hear the monitor chime softly. "Host 004 ready to bond." Then the house locks itself. And inside the nursery, the blue light blinks once, twice, and then never turns off again.